In the repair shop today, these three experts have got their hands full. Kirsten with the delicate reconstruction of an antique Hungarian vase.
This is where I hold my breath. Feels really wobbly.
While a piece of military history gives up its secrets to leather expert Suzie.
Hey, Steve.
What have you found? Oh, my goodness. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But first to arrive at the repair shop, Michelle Deadman, here to see upholstery expert Sonnaz Nooranvary.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
She's brought a cherished chair that has seen better days.
What an amazing chair. Absolutely fabulous, the design and the finish.
Well, this is my grandpa's chair. As a small child, I would sit in it a lot at my grandpa's house up in Leeds, and whenever I see it now, it reminds me of Grandpa. I took possession of it when he passed away in '91.
Amazing.
So lots of memories attached. I used to go up there as a child for 2 weeks in the summer holidays.
Right.
He would look after me.
Would
and
he?
We'd get up to mischief in Leeds.
Love it.
But most of the time it was spent really in his front room. We'd just sit there, we'd talk, and generally have cups of tea.
Would you? He sounds like a fabulous character.
He was. He was a very gentle, quiet man, actually.
Was he? Fabulous. So when you see this chair...
Yes, it brings back memories of him standing there in front of his coal fire and making funny noises with his hands.
Yeah.
And just memories like that.
Yeah,
lovely.
precious.
Very precious.
Looking at the chair, it tells me that it's from the arts and crafts period. That kind of movement was about 1880 to about 1920. And so
Right.
you can see it's very stripped back and it's
Yeah.
very sort of simple, but there's an elegance to it as
That's why
well.
I like it.
I mean, the woodwork's got this fantastic patina on it from
Ah,
where
yes.
you and Grandad have sat in it. And
Yes.
it would be a shame, really, to polish any of these,
Yes.
this sort of special patina out.
Yeah.
It's something that only time can create.
Yeah.
And it's still that sort of connection to those memories.
I like it as it is, in actual fact. It would seem odd if it suddenly changed.
Yeah.
But obviously here, it's seen better days. So
Yeah.
doing this and replacing these studs here,
Yeah.
just bringing it back to life.
Yeah, lovely.
It's feeling very sad. It needs some love.
It would be an absolute joy to
Oh,
give
lovely.
this chair some upholstery love.
It would mean a lot. It will be really emotional being able to sit in it and use it again, and it will be lovely. Really nice to sit there and think, I'm finally back in Grandpa's chair. I think when I first sit in it, I'll probably wish Grandpa was somewhere near me, that I was back in those times that I could be there in his front room with him, because I do still miss him, actually.
The arts and crafts movement was a distinctive school of design which developed in the 19th century as a reaction against the growing industrialization of Victorian Britain. It's typified by its simple style and in recent years has become very collectible.
So you know, this is a very important chair, right?
An extremely important chair.
So you're going to have to do a brilliant job on this. You always do a brilliant job. Yeah, that's it, as usual. So what we're doing now?
The real idea of this piece is to preserve it rather than restore it into a new chair.
Yeah.
Because it's really important to Michelle that when she looks at it, it's as she remembers it.
It still holds those memories, so
Absolutely,
that's the main thing.
absolutely.
But the seat.
Seat base, right, I'll show you the seat base. So you can see,
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably never been recovered before, or reupholstered certainly in its life. I mean, this Hessian is old. What I do know at this stage is that it is coil sprung. Can you see those in there?
Yeah.
Traditionally, so I think a chair like this, you can't not put traditional coil springs back in and stitch a horsehair base in it.
Yeah.
Again.
So you're going to reupholster this the traditional way, or the Sonnaz way, I should say.
Which is the proper way.
The proper way.
Exactly, Jay,
Okay,
exactly.
cool.
We couldn't put a bit of foam on this. It would
No,
just
no.
be a travesty.
No, well, good luck.
Okay.
Sonnaz's first task is to strip the old upholstery from the frame. It soon becomes clear that the chair has arrived at the repair shop in the nick of time.
You can see how brittle everything is.
and it's literally falling apart just by me pulling it. I don't think I've ever been able to rip the hessian and the fabric off quite so easily as this before. Stripping is the worst job out of the whole process because it's just so messy and dusty and gross, and it can take so much time as well. So now I've got this whole seat base stripped out, and now it's time to build the whole thing back up again.
Next into the repair shop is ex-military man Ian Matthews, with a family heirloom for the attention of Steve Fletcher.
Is it Ian?
Hello, it is, yes.
Hi, Steve.
Pleased to meet you.
Hi, what have we got here then?
It's a riding crop.
A riding crop?
Yes.
Not had a riding crop come in before. Ooh, this looks very interesting. Susie?
Yep.
Would you like to come over and have a look at this?
Sure.
Steve will be joining forces with his sister, leather expert and master saddle maker Suzie.
Oh, my word. Yeah, so how did you come by this?
It was my great-uncle's. It was passed down to me by his brother, and it's been in the family ever since. It was relatively in that condition when I got it.
Okay. So he was a rider,
Yes, he was in the
obviously.
military.
He was in the military?
Yes,
Okay.
Royal Field Artillery.
Is it a ceremonial thing?
It was presented for being best wheel.
And what exactly does that mean?
That's being in charge of the gun carriage. That's of him in uniform.
Okay, and that's at a time when he'd be using this?
Roughly about the same time,
Okay.
yes.
Do you know how old he was at this point?
When he went in, he would have been 17 going on 18.
I see there's an engraving on the top there. D.R. Matthews.
An AC?
AG.
AG.
Albert George.
Oh, okay.
How old were you when you were given this?
I was about 12.
All right,
Oh,
okay.
really?
And what did it mean to you when you were 12?
Not a lot.
Well, I was wondering that.
It was actually used like a toy
Yeah.
for many years.
Right, okay. But it's become more important to you
Yes.
as years have gone on
Yes.
because you've known the history.
Being in the military myself, and then you can appreciate the military aspect of it.
I think it's stunning. I would be very excited to own something like this. I think it's beautiful.
And what can you do to restore this?
So the collar and the end needs to come off and replace the leatherwork here, which will be pigskin, because pigskin's very thin but very, very strong. And perhaps, Steve, you could help with the cleaning up of the metalwork.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you very attached to this particular piece of leather? So I can replace with a new piece of leather and whip on and make it all look nice and tidy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for bringing it in.
Take care.
When I was given it at the age of 12, I used to play with it in our back garden. Didn't like to mention, but I actually used it for scrumping, for getting the apples out of a tree, not knowing its real significance. I'm feeling a little bit nervous about how it will come out in the end, but looking forward to seeing it completed.
Before Suzie can work on the leather, Steve first has to find a way to remove the metal tip.
Make me a cup of coffee?
It's my coffee mug.
Oh, no, sorry. It's hoof glue tea.
Oh, lovely. What is it you're doing?
Just trying to heat this up because I'm pretty sure there'll be hoof glue or some such thing that needs heating up. It'll go soft.
Okay.
And then it should just pull off.
Okay.
It's not moving at all at the moment. So I might just put a flame on there, actually.
Okay.
Just a gentle flame, just to,
Okay.
so it gets really, really,
Okay.
really hot.
It's not going to melt this, is it?
No. I'll just be really gentle with it. If you've got a bit of spare leather,
Okay.
that I can just wrap around it so it doesn't hurt my hand when I hold on to it.
This way.
Yeah. Yay, look. That's coming off.
It is.
It's
It's
just-
just popping off. Look at it, it's sliding off.
It's going to shoot. Well, I'm blowed, look.
Oh, wow.
The heat is pushing it off.
Wow. pot.
Yes.
Looks like treacle.
Yeah. So.
Caramel.
Yes. So when we put it back on again, we just have to put some more hoof glue in, heat it up, and push it on.
Yeah. Well, at least we know we have a plan of action.
With her own plan of attack, Sonnaz is preparing to rebuild the armchair, starting with the springs, which are essential for giving the seat form and the user a nice, comfortable sit.
This is the planning stage of my springs. There are different grade springs. The grade denotes the springiness or the firmness. All of these are 9-gauge springs, so they're sort of soft but not firm, because we want it to be comfortable but not hard. Now that I've tied all my springs in, I am lashing them in. You've got to make sure that the knot doesn't move, so it's nice and tight, and that the spacings here are even. Otherwise, your springs won't be straight and they'll be off. This is true, traditional springing up of a base. My sort of favourite motto is every stage has a knock-on effect to the next stage. It's crucial that I get these springs in the right place and sort of mirrored so they're all even, and that my lashing's all good, etc., etc.
With the springs in place, Sonnaz begins to layer the seat pad.
So this is the base paired up now. I've stuffed it with horsehair. There's no real exact science. Each upholsterer will do sort of their own version of a pad. What my plan is for this is to actually stitch some calico to the top of my padding here and then have my fabric go over the top of that. It can give you sometimes a bit of a nicer finish. The whole objective, really, for putting so much thought and effort into how best to reupholster this pad is really to make it as comfortable as possible for Michelle. I imagine, having had a little chat with her about her granddad, that she would be sitting in this chair for long periods of time, thinking about the good times that she had. So I think it's worth the thought and effort to get it absolutely right.
Sonnaz covers and stitches the layers of seat padding into place, ready for the fabric. It's this final layer that is giving her most cause for concern.
I'm really quite nervous to reveal this chair to Michelle because of my fabric choice. Michelle specifically said that she doesn't want the chair to change much from how she remembers it. If I put a shiny new with bright blues and bright greens as per the original on there, my worry is that that would be too new for Michelle. On the original chair, there's actually also this lovely cord. So I've chosen a cord that's slightly bigger, so that it's really going to be obvious and is similar to the original cord in both design and colours. Now for this bit, here is where it joins. When this comes round and sits around that corner like that, and this one meets it here, I've actually made a little cuff that's going to wrap around them both and disguise the join. Lovely. Great, thank goodness for that. It fits nicely, that's a real relief. I just hope that Michelle likes it as much as I do.
Next into the repair shop, Joanna Fay. With her is her half-brother Julian Rowe. She's brought an item for ceramics restorer Kirsten Ramsay.
Hello. Hey. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm Julian.
I'm Kirsten.
Jojo.
Hi, Jojo.
Do you want to get out of the box?
There we go. This looks interesting.
Very pretty, isn't it?
Wow.
The vase belongs to Jojo and Julian's 83-year-old mother, Patricia.
Let's have a look. So it's broken. I can see across the handle. That's, God, what a shame.
Yeah. My mother broke it while cleaning. We've tried to fix it, but not very well.
What can you tell me about this piece?
Well, this belonged to my father, who tragically died in a gas explosion very early on in his life.
Oh.
It's the only piece I have of my father. It's the only thing I can remember it by, really.
It's a really precious thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because everything else got destroyed in the explosion.
Oh, no.
This was the only thing that survived.
So when was that?
I was just 11 at the time.
Right.
So this is why it means such a lot.
Yeah, I can understand that. And do you have sort of memories of it?
Completely. It's been on the sideboard forever.
Oh,
For as long as
okay.
we can remember, isn't it?
Golly,
Yeah.
right. So when was this actually broken? Because it looks like quite an old repair.
It is an old.
35 years.
Right. So this is your mum's vase. Does she actually know that it's here?
She does.
She does, yes,
Yeah.
she
But
does.
she won't do by the time we take it back to her because she's suffering from dementia. So it's a short-term dementia.
Right.
So she'll remember the vase, she'll remember breaking it, etc.
Okay.
But by the time we take it back to her, fixed, hopefully, she'll be absolutely over the moon and gobsmacked, won't she?
She will, she will.
Oh,
She was actually
really?
devastated when she broke it.
Yeah.
I completely get that, yeah. So it's actually going to mean a lot to lots of people,
It is.
isn't it, in
It really
different
will.
ways. Goodness, I do feel the weight of responsibility, I have to say.
We wouldn't take it to anyone else.
No, we actually wouldn't. The heartbreak my mother experienced when she broke it, I remember that clearly, even when we were very young.
It means an awful lot to me because it's the only thing that I've got of my father. And it was quite a tug on my heartstrings to let it go.
It's going to mean a lot to the family.
Produced in Budapest in the mid-1800s, the vase was designed by Ignaz Fischer, who specialized in highly decorative pottery.
Now that's what I call a beautiful jug.
You probably caught it sparkling.
It was actually.
Yeah.
So what is it used for? Is it like just dried flowers or something put in there?
It's decorative. It's Hungarian, and it's got this quite sort of distinctive cream background and pierced work.
Can I touch it? I asked before I went.
Actually, you've already touched it.
Have I?
Yeah,
Okay.
you came straight in.
Right, just touched
I
it.
thought I'd trained you. But
Oh, no, you didn't. I'm a rebel. Look at that. That's broken, isn't it?
It's really broken.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's actually a hole there.
Oh, it's a hole.
Yeah, there's a hole, a bit missing, goes right the way round. And then we've got these bits on the, actually there as well, and here. Basically, everywhere you look.
I'm quite chuffed. I can. I know. I touched it again.
Susie's getting to grips with the worn handle from the World War I riding crop.
How you doing, Suzie? How you getting on with that whip then?
Oh, well, you came right at the beginning, so
Right.
just beginning to take off the glue here.
Right.
I'm going to strip off this handle,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
this...
blimey, that glue's gone, isn't it? Look at that.
Yes, hoof glue. Hoof glue is
Alright.
taking all of this leather off because I'm going to replace it with this pigskin. And I'm going to dye this to match the original
All right.
colour. Yeah.
Was this dyed then originally? Because that looks a
Yeah,
different colour.
it probably was very, very light,
Yeah.
but over the years it just tones down with the use.
Okay.
It just gets that lovely patina on it. And so I'm just going to try and replicate it with dyeing it. But all this little stitching, can you see how tiny
See,
the
now this is
stitching
where I think, I don't know how you do that, because you've got
Yeah.
to stitch that
Yeah.
when it's on the actual
Yeah.
cane
Yeah.
or the whip.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and
how
you
do you
see
do
it's
that?
a little thicker here than it is down here, so I
Yeah.
have to taper everything down and keep the seam exactly straight.
Oh, right, you still haven't answered. How do you do that?
That's magic.
Is it magic?
It is magic.
So I can pull up a chair and just watch you do a magic show?
if you like.
Right.
If you like.
All right.
But you'll be sat there for a while.
I don't have to wish you luck. I know you're going to do a great job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
So I'm going to see you soon anyway.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good.
No
Bye-bye.
While unravelling the old leather, Suzie makes an interesting discovery.
Hey, Steve. Come and have a look and see what I found.
What have you found?
So on this riding crop, when I took the leather off,
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
The paperwork underneath, and it came off on the leather here.
yeah.
And I'm just peeling off this top layer and trying to see what was written. They got stable.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be management, because I'm assuming that this was made in the military settlers.
Right,
And they would
okay.
have used whatever paper was to hand.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And,
Well, let me know when you uncover some more.
Okay,
I'm intrigued.
me too.
But more meticulous unpicking doesn't reveal quite the military secrets Suzie was expecting.
This is like the minutes of the allotment association. And up here, the stable is, I think, an advert, because that name, is it LeMay? It runs all the way through
Oh,
it.
right. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Well, I'd show you before I cover it up with leather for another 100 years.
So where are we up to on this then?
So I'm just going to clean the rest of it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'll be covering it with the leather.
Right.
If you could repair the cap that we took off.
Yeah, the cap actually has got a split in it.
I didn't see that.
Yep, so there's a split there. I've closed it up,
Okay.
and I'm going to put a small slither of metal underneath there.
Oh,
Just
right,
as,
yeah.
you see, it's
Yeah.
the way it's been made all the way down here, but it's split away from there.
Okay.
So I'm going to strengthen it by just putting a very fine slither of metal and soldering that on.
All right.
Good.
Thanks.
How exciting.
I know.
While Steve fixes the metal end, Suzie prick marks the leather for the handle, carefully punching holes, ready to be stitched.
I'm pulling the thread through as I'm pushing the needle, because I don't want the needle to go into the thread. This is when the leather can tear, so just take your time.
One slip-up could ruin the entire piece of leather, setting Suzie back several hours.
The beauty with hand-stitched items is that they're very, very strong, because the threads are going in and out and then a step, and they're crossing from the left to the right, whereas machine stitching, the threads link in the middle.
Once the stitching is done and the metal end repaired, Steve and Suzie can finally put the crop's handle back together.
So I'm at this point where ready to glue the cap back on.
Okay, is it tight?
Yeah.
I think
How
put the
do you want
glue
to
in
do
here
this?
first.
Okay. Twist, twist. Just, there you go. There you go. Oh, look at that. Yes.
It's beautiful,
Well
Suze.
done.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Right, what are you going to do at the other end?
I have to whip this little tab on.
All right, okay.
Yep,
That'll take
and-
5, 6.
Won't take me very long. So, nearly done.
Okay.
Across the workshop, the expert eye of Sonnaz has spotted some clues to suggest there may have been more to this armchair than she first thought.
I've been sort of looking at the back as I've been working on it, and I definitely do think that there was a cushion on the back here attached in the corners with the studs. Another clue to back up that theory is the fact that the centre of the back is in really good condition, and we can actually see rub marks either side where the cushion wasn't. So I think that it would be a really lovely touch to actually make a cushion and reattach it in the same place it was when Michelle's granddad had the chair. this is the first time I've ever secured a cushion to the inside back of a chair, so it's a new experience and it's a new look for me. I quite like it, actually. I like the contrast between the brass, the cord and the velvet. I absolutely can't wait for Michelle to have this chair back. I do really sort of enjoy the thought, really, of her sitting in this chair and reminiscing about her time with her granddad, because it sounds to me like they had a really lovely relationship. Michelle's grandfather actually lived in Vancouver, and my granddad lived in Vancouver as well. We were really close, and, you know, all I've got is fond memories of him, so I totally, totally understand Michelle's connection with this chair. And if only I had a chair of one, you know, any of my grandparents to remember them by, I just think it's a really lovely, special thing. So, this is the moment I've been waiting for all day. Great, 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 great.
Owner Michelle brought the chair into the repair shop after years of loving use had rendered it tatty and worn.
I don't think I've ever seen the chair in its proper state, so that might be a bit of a surprise to me. Overall, though, I'm really excited to see it.
Also here to witness the transformation, Michelle's mother, Cecile.
That chair was special. The fact that after he died, the one thing she really wanted was Grandpa's chair. And I don't think we can quite believe now what we're going to see. I think it's going to be quite exciting.
Hi,
Hi!
how
Nice to
are
see
you?
you. Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, Sonnaz. This is my mum.
Can you remember what your chair looked like when you brought it in?
It was in a sorry state. Sad, really sad and unloved by me.
Well, I won't keep you any longer.
I'm too excited. Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, yes! You've got it exactly lovely.
It is, isn't it, Mum? It's fantastic.
That's amazing.
It just looks the same as Grandpa's chair. Thank you so much. That is lovely.
My pleasure.
Look at the cord and look at the back of it. Now we've got a back, Mum.
Yes.
I was absolutely petrified that you wouldn't like the colour of the fabric because...
Oh, were you?
Yeah, totally.
No, it suits it. It suits
does.
it.
This fabric sort of echoed...
It does.
The original without looking new.
No.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I heard you say was, I just don't really want it to change.
No. Now it's there and it's like that, I can almost put that right into Grandpa's front room again.
There's just such treasured memories, aren't they?
They are. And that's what it's about. So I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It has been... Throughout the process, I've just been thinking about how...
Oh, Sonnaz, you're getting really emotional. You're thinking about Grandpa and just the story. I know.
Because it's just such a special relationship that you had. And I had a really good relationship with my granddad.
It's brought back memories for you as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. And I really do wish I still had Grandpa about.
But I just think it's such a lovely thing to have, you know, to have that's connected you to Grandpa, really.
Yeah, I know. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. When she unveiled the chair, I wished Grandpa was with us still. I really do. You just long for that person back in your life. It was really something seeing Sonnaz become quite emotional about the chair along with us, because she has a connection with her grandfather as I have with Grandpa. You can see how deeply she felt for the chair itself, and it's not just the story, it's the chair as well. It's lovely. She's smashing. Can't believe she's done it so beautifully. I'm really happy she has.
Ceramic expert Kirsten is beginning to unpick the old repairs on the Hungarian vase.
It's previously been restored, but I think Joanna said it was perhaps something like 30 years ago. So we're going to undo all the previous restoration, take that off, clean it, and hopefully there's only a couple of tiny little pieces missing, so I can then reassemble it.
Breaking down the bonds of some old adhesives can be difficult, and Kirsten's having to delve deep into her restorer's armoury.
What's in there then?
Oh, just the Hungarian vase. I'm still trying to take this apart, actually. Do you remember it had quite a lot of sort of old yellow glue on it? And what I've been doing is just starting off with some acetone, actually, to see if that would just soften the old adhesive. It hasn't.
Right.
I'm now on to industrial methylated spirits.
Okay.
And that seems to be doing the trick. It's actually starting to soften.
So you're going to have that apart then?
Now to find out if her efforts have paid off.
Oh, my goodness. That's absolutely brilliant. Look at this. That seems to be working quite well, actually. Yeah, so that's sort of the main section that's come off the back of the vase there. And it's softened all this old glue.
Right.
Which now comes away very easily.
Okay.
But I think now that bit's come away, hopefully it's underway.
After deconstructing the vase, Kirsten can begin reconstructing it, starting with the trickiest section.
Handles are always very difficult. You have to sort of balance the bits and they wobble around. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do now. So I've got my pieces prepared. Oops. And I'm just using an adhesive here that is suitable for earthenware, which is what this piece is made of. Right, this is where it gets difficult.
Kirsten must now simultaneously line up, stick, and hold the pieces in place. All before the adhesive hardens, and with only one pair of hands.
This is quite tricky. I just dot the glue into the middle of the piece that I'm sticking, because most people just use far too much glue and it all squashes out. This is where I hold my breath. Feels really wobbly.
But with the help of some very modern sticky tape, this 150-year-old vase is starting to take shape. But Kirsten isn't taking any risks.
I'm not quite ready to take my hands off. I'm still anchoring stuff in place with the tape. I don't want it to collapse in a big heap.
Time to check if the adhesive and the tape have done their job.
The piece feels quite stable and strong, and that's quite a relief. Yep, I'm happy with that. I'm now just going to start filling it. I'm just going to use a filler here that cures extremely quickly, and it also will give some strength to the body of the vase by filling all these little missing areas. It's quite a tricky restoration.
With the piece now intact and her repairs filled and sanded, Kirsten can turn her attention to the intricate decoration.
There's so many different styles in this piece. You've got this sort of almost Satsuma-y style, you've got almost sort of Islamic style around here. It's interesting, you know, you look so closely at all the different details as you try and emulate or mimic them, really. I love this sort of retouching. Everyone's under strict instructions to leave me alone at the moment, so...
Also absorbed by her repair, Suzie. The end is in sight for the restoration of the much-treasured riding crop.
This is the final part, the little leather tab on the end that the old one was actually not the original. So I've glued the tab on and then I've taped around it, and now I'm just whipping it on using a linen thread that I've waxed. And you want to get the thread tight up against the previous thread and then pull it up. It's a little tricky on this crop because it's not straight. So as I'm turning it under my arm here, it has a little bit of a sticking point. What I'm doing is replicating how this crop was originally made. It's lovely to keep the old ways alive. Pop the end of the thread through this loop. I'm going to pull the loop ends through. And there. Now I just need to trim this off and then put some varnish or glue on it, and that'll stay on for many, many years.
Ian's back, and he's keen to see if the riding crop he once used for his boyhood apple scrumping has been restored to its former glory.
The riding crop was in a very bad state of repair. I had used it as a child to play with. I would like to see the riding crop as it was made originally, so that myself and my family can understand what the item actually looked like. Because in its state that I brought it down, it wasn't very good. Hello, Susie.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Come on in. I've got something to show you.
I hope so.
Do you remember what it looked like when you brought it in?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so here we go.
Oh, wow.
So what I did was I replaced the leather that was all torn.
Yes.
And we, remember that big dent you had in here?
Yes.
So Steve very kindly managed to get rid of that for us. And I whipped on a new piece of leather for you. And all of this was hand stitched. Made my eyes go a bit wobbly when I was doing it.
It looks fantastic.
But hopefully you'll put it in a pride of place somewhere.
In the living room at home, there'll be some pictures, and when I eventually get the reproduction of his medals, they'll be going with it as well.
So you can have a whole big display on Great Uncle Albert.
Hopefully. It's the only piece of history we have from that generation of our family.
Oh, wow.
It's an object that they can hold.
Exactly.
And say, he held that
Yes.
almost 100 years ago.
What a wonderful way to keep somebody's memory alive.
The family think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Difficult to put into words the emotions you feel knowing that a member of your family has used something like that, and you are now the custodian of it. That is fantastic.
On the restoration of the Hungarian vase, Kirsten is still meticulously toiling away, applying some fine decorative details. She's using a blend of gold and bronze powders in a clear glaze to gild the piece.
Must be finished. Hey?
I have, yeah.
Have you? No, but hold on. Where have you done it? Like, where?
So
That's a compliment, actually.
Thank you.
I can't see the
Thank
damage,
you.
which is good.
Thank you.
Wow. I think Gillian and Joanna are going to be amazed by that. Amazed.
Yeah, I know that their mum, Patricia's, really sort of missed this piece actually while I've been working on it,
Yeah.
and I think they're quite keen to get it back to her.
Yeah, you've done a blinding job.
Thank you, Joe.
Kirsten has managed to return this collectible antique vase back to near original condition, erasing the ailing repairs and painstakingly mimicking the extraordinary paintwork. It's time to send this beloved piece and all the memories it holds back home to its owner, Patricia. Julian is taking charge of this special delivery as half-sister Jojo is away.
Today we're very excited because my mother's going to be seeing it in what was its original condition, which she's not seen that for probably the last 30 years. She knows something's going on. She's not 100% sure what it is, but today's the day. How you doing?
What's this?
I've got a surprise for you.
Wow!
Do you remember in the summer when you shouted at me for taking
You've
Ivy's
not.
vase away?
Oh, you've not.
I'll be honest, I've not seen it yet, so I'm hoping beyond hope. So let's just have a look. Let's see what we've got.
Oh, you.
It's like,
It's done!
okay, there you go, just check it out.
Oh, don't touch it.
Check it out.
Oh, my goodness, it's perfect.
Are you happy?
I'm over the moon. I mean, quite genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I'm over the moon. Darling, it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Oh, Julian, thank you, darling. It's wonderful.
I love you.
I love you too. What a lovely, lovely gesture, Jude. Speaking for Jojo, it's the only real tangible thing that she's got of her father's. The only real tangible memory that she's got of him. You know, the one thing that she can actually touch and feel and see, and they've done a splendid job. I can't believe it. For goodness sake, don't drop it.
I promise I won't drop it.
Whatever happens, it's had a few adventures.
Happy, Mum?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you, darling.